Hi guys, so I was asked to do a response to Alex Belfield. Alex used to be on the BBC. He left or he was fired, I don't know, it's quite irrelevant. But in this video he's attacking James O'Brien. But Alex Belfield has this channel where he seems to, in his eyes I imagine, punch up. So he attacks celebrities, famous people, politicians, commentators. And in this video he's attacking James O'Brien. Now, he doesn't actually attack James O'Brien's position, because that probably would be difficult. Instead, he just attacks James O'Brien because he doesn't like James O'Brien.
I've made no secret of the fact that James O'Brien, to me, is the very worst of broadcasting. He's arrogant, he's pompous, he cuts people off, talks all over them, and thinks he's better than his listeners.
He doesn't think he's better than his listeners. And if he cuts people off, it's because they're talking absolute twaddle. What James O'Brien does is he invites people to call his show. He asks them to present their opinion, their position, and then he attacks their position. You don't seem to understand this. Now, if somebody's talking, he doesn't allow them to speak for like 2 minutes, and then at the end he says, okay, now I'm going to pick apart what you've said. No, if somebody's talking absolute crap, he's going to stop them and ask them to clarify what they're saying, or to explain, or to present some sort of evidence to back up their claim.
This is really the worst form of broadcasting, in my opinion, where you condescend your audience, you patronise them, you sit there sanctimoniously talking over them, above them, and thinking that they are not worthy to be on your programme. To think in 2020 that he's given hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to sit at LBC, a global...
Why do you think he's been paid hundreds of thousands of pounds a year to sit at LBC? Is it because he's popular? Because... how can I say, arguments, discussions between him and callers have gone viral because he's able to destroy these people. He's able to show that their positions are built on sand. James O'Brien is intelligent and he knows what he's talking about most of the time. Now, I have my disagreements with him. But when he's talking, for example, about Brexit or in particular Brexit, when people call on call him on his show, they generally don't understand what they voted for when they voted for Brexit in 2016, and he demonstrates to them that they don't understand, and that's why those videos and those recordings go viral. You have a problem with James O'Brien because you disagree with his politics. And that's quite sad, because I think it would make more sense if you were to attack his position and not just attack him.
Radio station, the biggest in the UK, and allowed to patronise people who have very good points that they're trying to make on the radio.
No, they don't. And that's why it goes viral. If they had very good points, he would be the one being destroyed, not him destroying the people.
And think that he can get away with it. When did this become a thing?
They don't want to come to a country where the rules are made by people like you.
Okay. But they don't have to, do they?
No. So who's going to do the jobs they currently do?
Well, like what?
Mate, I'm not Google. I'm not Google, David.
Jobs. No, okay, but
so, okay, well, let's take the medical engineer that we spoke to. Let's take the medical engineer that we spoke to. Who's going to do that job if she now feels unwelcome, despite passing all the thresholds?
Somebody else from this country or...
Yeah, of course.
So what's the problem here? So the argument here is that people on the right and Brexiteers want to introduce these Australian-style immigration limits. Now, the government want to actually introduce them to satisfy Brexiteers and people on the right. Not because they're actually valid or something like that, but just to satisfy this wing of the Conservative Party. Now, the problem with these limits is that you're automatically excluding certain people. And if you also create an atmosphere that's toxic, many people who actually reach the threshold feel unwelcome and they leave. But let's say for a moment you're looking for people who reach a certain threshold. If you can't find them, the caller was saying, well, let's just hire British people. But we've seen a perfect example of the problem with that position just this year, where a farmer, a large farmer, wanted to hire British people to pick fruit or vegetables, I don't remember if it was fruit or vegetables, on his farm. He reached out to British people. I want British people to pick the fruit or vegetables on the farm. And it was a disaster. What happened was most people, I think it was 50,000 people applied. And he ended up having to fly people in from Romania. Now, why did the British people not want, or why did they not get the job? In most cases, it was because the money was either too low, the work was too hard, or they didn't have the sufficient skills to do the job. So he had to bring people in from abroad. Now, the Brexiteers and the right wing want to stop farmers from hiring people from abroad. So how, if they can't find people from Britain to do the job, then what is the alternative? James O'Brien was just pointing this out. There are people also not doing so-called low-skilled jobs, but also highly skilled jobs. If you have a company and you want to hire highly skilled people and you can't find them in your local area, then you'll try to find people further afield. But the problem is, the further you go out, the less attractive the work may be, because, you know, if you live far from where the job is, you're less likely to travel every day. If maybe it's too costly to travel every day. Maybe the idea of moving house is too much of a problem for you. So in many cases, it may be possible to find people from abroad who are willing to relocate. Maybe they're younger people, they don't have attachments. So maybe they're also willing to work for a lower wage than British people. That's why it's necessary to have a more flexible immigration policy. But what the Tory government want to do is they want to introduce a policy that is satisfying for the Brexiteers and the right wing.
11:30. Well done, David. Just proving it without realising it. Used to be funny. Now it's just tragic.
What must it be like to have had a private education, go to university, have a privileged life and career in the media, and then sit there?
So this is Alex's go-to when it comes to, for example, James O'Brien. So he goes, look at James O'Brien, this privileged, privately schooled, educated twat, looking down on people. Okay, now, this is completely irrelevant, but I want to talk about it because I think it's important to clear up. James O'Brien's parents saved up money and they sent James to a private school. James O'Brien's father, as far as I know, he was a journalist, or he was a writer for the Daily Telegraph. His father wanted his son to go to a private school, so he put money aside every week or every month, and he decided, I want my son to go to a private school. James O'Brien is not some aristocrat that has, lived off money that was created 300 or 400 years ago. His father wanted him to go to a private school. Why is that a problem? Now, I know Alex wants to present it as, look at this upper class twat telling us what to do. That's not what he's doing. I would actually suggest that Alex calls in James O'Brien with some of his positions and see if he's able to destroy James O'Brien. Of course, then he probably wouldn't do that because he would say, he just cut me off. Once again, James O'Brien doesn't cut people off because he's arrogant. He cuts people off because they're talking crap.
They're on the radio slagging off regular people, normal working class people who have a fair and valid opinion that you see.
No, they don't. They don't have a valid opinion. Why are you bringing class into this? If someone's opinion is valid, it's valid irrelevant of their class. If Jacob Rees-Mogg says, today is Friday, and I check the calendar and today is Friday, then Jacob Rees-Mogg is right. It's not whether his class doesn't come into it. I don't care what Jacob Rees-Mogg says if he's telling the truth, if he's saying something that's factual. I don't care if a working class person says something if it's factual. And the same goes for the other direction. If a working class person says something that's complete and utter bullshit, if Jacob Rees-Mogg says something that's complete complete and utter bullshit, I'll call them out. Why should class come into the fact that somebody says something that's true or false?
Simply dismiss. Shameful. The very worst. The lefties are now the very worst. Far worse than anything you'll ever see on the right. The vitriol of these people, the arrogance of...
What vitriol? He said, James O'Brien once again said to this caller, you want to create a situation where people feel unwelcome, even if they reach these requirements. And the response was, well, we can get other people to do it. Well, obviously you can't. The facts go against your opinion. Sorry. Sorry if also I sound arrogant by saying that. But the facts don't give a crap about your feelings. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?